Are you really gonna hit me with the
I f***ing well am. I'm gonna f***ing put you in hospital.
what? Oh,
Yes.
Ginger Baker just hit me in the nose.
From a distance, da-da-dee-da. Rich, I didn't hear you say from a distance.
I got in the distance part. I was late on the from.
From a distance, dee-da.
Da-da-da-da.
Perfect. Rich Dart is here, Dave. Have you met Rich?
Well, I have now. How are you, Rich?
Hi, Dave. Nice to meet you.
Nice
Rich Dart, drummer for the Monkees since 2012 and performing solo with Mickey since 2006.
Well, sort of. Today is actually my 10-year anniversary.
Oh, wow.
As
Sober?
Mickey's band.
Oh, of Mickey. I thought
worked with
sober.
him.
10 years sober.
Yeah. No, that's when I started drinking.
And you're also in a great band called Cream Corn, which I really respect a lot because you're not thinking about writing hits when you're doing stuff with Cream Corn.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it's exciting to hear non-commercial music and stuff that I really relate to.
Well, the Corn's been around forever because I grew up with all those guys.
Okay.
So Stevie Lightman is the singer and guitar player. He's my oldest friend. I've known him since 3.
When you're in a band with somebody where your friendship or your relationship runs that deep,
Mm-hmm.
does that the depth of that and the sort of group think that happens in cases like that, does that help you as band members, or is it more of a problem when you're in a band with somebody like that?
In the Corn, it is probably beneficial because we're not in it for any reason other than to hang out. That's how we hang out.
Right.
You don't say, hey, come over to the house, or hey, let's go out and watch the game at the bar. We say, let's book a gig. And that's how we get together.
Got it. So you practice at the gig? Is that how that
Yeah.
works?
Yeah.
I like that.
That's how we do this show, actually.
That's right.
That's how I do everything.
Is there another way to do a show? I'm unaware.
I don't know. I'm not in the television business.
No, neither are we.
Neither are we. Actually, Dave, I should tell you that Rich said that he may have allergies, and I think, are you allergic to this show? Is that the problem?
It might be because I was fine until I logged on, and I'm like,
well, we're sorry that we're holding you down. We brought you on to listen to you talk about ourselves. I hope you enjoy the
I
show.
love that. That's normally what I do.
I think it was this year you put out a song on Bandcamp. It's a song with Kim Shattuck.
Yes.
So tell me about it's Girl Named Female is the name of the song. It's a great song.
Thank you. It's actually called Girl Named Famali.
Oh, excuse me.
So you haven't listened to the song.
No, I definitely listened to it because, as you mentioned, Rich, we played some music last night and he said, well, some of your songs sound like They Might Be Giants. And that song, I feel like that's a bit like They Might Be Giants, which is a great thing. They're one of the greatest bands.
Thank you. That's compliment. Well, actually, I recorded that song. I don't even know when I recorded that song. Many years ago, over 10 years ago with Kim.
Oh, wait 1 second. Let's tell people who don't know who Kim Shattuck was.
Okay. Kim Shattuck was a female musician. Her big thing was she led a group called the Muffs for many, many years. Before that, she was in the Pandoras, which is an LA band. And she did a short stint as a Pixie for a while. But to me, she was one of my best friends.
Okay.
And last year, she passed away from ALS.
Yep.
So, I know exactly when I recorded that. It was 2007. I recorded Kim because I was in LA for 6 weeks. I was the drummer for the Broadway show Avenue Q on its first North American tour. And I would go hang out with Kim every day. And one day she said, we should record some stuff. So we recorded that song in her apartment, just on her little computer.
And how did you meet Kim?
The jury's still out on how we met. I always thought we had met in Boston. She thinks we met in Rhode Island, but it was in the 90s when the Muffs were first starting out. In New York, I saw them in New Haven, I saw them in Boston, I saw them in Rhode Island, I saw them in San Diego, I saw them in LA. But we met and just became instant friends and kept emailing each other. And when she was around, I'd go see her. So yeah.
Cool.
I think that's one of the coolest parts about the music business. I'm a non-musician sort of leech on the music business, and the sort of summer camp vibe, just of touring bands where I love that a lot of people don't really remember how or where they met. It's just sort of you cross paths on the road and suddenly you've got these friends. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a great thing.
I was going to ask, I don't know what kind of house you grew up in or, what your parents did, and that may or may not be related to the answer to the question I'm about to ask, but I often like talking to musicians about at what point in your life did you realize, all right, music is something I'm just going to have to do. I know it might be a hard job. I might need day jobs. I might need whatever, but I'm going to do it. And it's going to be I'm going to aim my life in that direction. Did you have a moment where you realized, okay, I'm going to do it and I can do it?
No. That's the short answer.
Do you want to make one up?
No, I do. It was just I've been exposed to music my whole life. I mean, neither of my parents were professional musicians. My dad was a banker. My mom was a teacher. My mom played piano a little bit. My dad had a guitar, but didn't know anything about it. He would just, fake strum it next to, Eddie Babbitt records. And I have an uncle who's a musician, who's a guitar player. And then I have a great uncle who's a trumpet player who played in big bands. He played in big band era. But none of that influenced me at all.
That's strange.
Not even on the level of at least they were in your kind of orbit and you realize, because I grew up in the Midwest where nobody's in entertainment in any way. It was never a possibility to me. Do you think they influenced you in that way?
I don't know. I really don't know, because what happened was I've always been listening to records. I have pictures of me at 2 and 3 next to a record player, and I don't ever remember a time where I didn't own records. So it was just something I related to. And then in 4th grade, the band teacher came and visited our homerooms and said, next year you can be in the school band. Who wants to be in the band? And I raised my hand and I brought my piece of paper home. My parents said, well, what do you want to play? And I just said drums. That's how it happened. I don't know why. I don't know how. That's how it happened.
And then we should just talk about one thing. You're in the Monkees, the current touring Monkees, who hopefully will hit the road again.
Hopefully in March, we're supposed to be back out.
Were you guys out when it all hit?
We were supposed to go out. Well, right before it hit, I was out with Mickey. We did a really cool gig in Tucson, Arizona with the Tucson Symphony.
That looked amazing.
It was really cool. And it was a big high for me because I wrote some of the arrangements we played.
Oh, cool.
That's great.
That was really cool.
Right.
And then everything shut down, as you all know. And then they postponed April to July. So I'm technically supposed to be out right now, but that got shut down.
Well, this is as exciting.
Yeah, no, this is way more exciting. I couldn't be doing this if I were on the road,
So, so you did the show in Tucson with the symphony, and you said you did some of the arrangements. Can you talk about that process? Here's my take on what I would think it's been like. 2 different bands that I know very well have had a similar experience, and they've had similar reactions, which is that they get very, very nervous going into it, almost borderline intimidated, I think, maybe by the musicality of some of these people. And then they get euphoric on stage when it happens. Did you share any of those experiences? What was it like for you?
Well, for me, it would be different because I'm a symphonic player to begin with. So I was thrilled to death that we were playing with a symphony because I love being a member. I'm a member of Greater Bridgeport Symphony in Connecticut.
Oh, great.
So I was thrilled to death about that.
BPT.
GPT, GPS, whatever. So that to me was pretty cool, but I knew going into it how symphonies react to rock bands playing with them.
How do they?
They're not thrilled about it.
Wow.
We've done stuff. It's the symphonies. Think of it as we're going to come in. It's one day. We rehearse in the morning. We play at night. It's over. We collect our paycheck and go home. It's easy. We can sight read the parts, you know. Then you get the curmudgeons who are like, this isn't music. This is abomination, you know.
What accent? What accent was that?
That I have no idea.
I'm curious if you met my mother.
It's like a combination of two people, my deceased neighbor and a Monkees fan from England. But we won't get into that.
Yeah.
Richard. But,
I want to ask you a couple questions, Monkees related, but not much because I don't want to just burden you with Monkees questions. But
okay.
One is, has the set changed much in the last 10 years or 8 years, whatever?
Well, the 8 years in the Monkees, yes. So when I came on board, I had been in Mickey's band since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And that set has changed over the years, but you obviously keep the hits.
Sure.
And then in 2011, they went out as Mickey, Davey, Peter, and I wasn't part of that. That was Davey's band back then.
Okay.
Davey passed away, and then we went out with Mickey, Peter, Mike.
Right.
And the great thing about what we do now when the Monkees go out is our manager and our producer is Andrew Sandoval, who is a phenomenal music historian. He knows everything and anything about any 60s band.
Right.
And he is very knowledgeable in their catalog. And I say he's really cool because as far as I know, he's the only person who knows more about them than I do, because I was a huge fan growing up.
Okay.
So he knows what the fans want to hear. So he'll dig really deep and get into the deep cuts that they've never played before. And every tour, those change up.
Great.
My question is for you is, you said you were a giant fan and like a historian almost. You like had a deep knowledge of the Monkees, right?
Yes, I do.
I'm a video producer that works with a lot of bands. And sometimes when I cross paths with a band that I'm a big fan of and deeply familiar with, it's a real asset. And other times it's actually a detriment to the project for me.
Yes.
Because I come in with preconceived notions. So I'm just curious how you think your fandom and knowledge of the Monkees before you joined the band factored into how you are now a contributing member. Did it help? Did it hurt? Did you have to overcome things?
No, it's been nothing but helpful. I got into the Monkees because of my knowledge of the band. Because I first worked with Mickey on a production of the musical Pippin at Goodspeed Opera House here in Connecticut in 2006. And we went on the road with that for 4 months. And Mickey and I got to be really, really good friends. We hung out all the time. I knew enough not to ask anything about Monkees. And on our off night, we did a benefit show where you did stuff that wasn't part of the show.
Right.
Everybody could do, pop songs. So Mickey played some Monkee songs. And when we went in to rehearse for it, he came in and he said, you guys know any Monkee songs? And we said, yeah. And he looked at the keyboard player and he said, what do you know? He goes, well, I know Daydream Believer and I'm a Believer. He said to the guitar player, what do you know? Oh, well, I know those and I know I'm a Believer and I can do Pleasant Valley Sunday. And he looked at me and I said, I know all of them.
Whoa.
Nice.
And he said, yeah, whatever.
Take you seriously?
And I did, seriously.
But did he take you seriously when you said it? Do you believe it?
At first, he didn't. He just said, yeah, whatever. And then when we got to sound check, he started playing the song called Circle Sky, which is not one of the better known tunes. And I just started playing with him on the drums. And he turned around and went, how the hell do you know that song? But I told you I know all of them. So Mickey was the guy who actually got me into the organization. He pushed to get me in his band and into the Monkees.
We should briefly go back to the last record because I own that record. That's an unbelievable record. And the writers.
Good Times? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. That's a great record.
Let's just ramble off a couple. Adam Schlesinger, of course.
Schlesinger, he produced it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Is that really?
Yeah. Andy Partridge wrote a song for that.
XTC, Andy Partridge. And Death Cab, Ben
Gibbard.
Ben Gibbard, yeah. And what's that? What's the name of that song? The
Ben Gibbard, Me and Magdalena.
that song, I mean, I cry. I can't help but cry. It's like crazy. Dave, I guarantee you,
I heard that song today on the Spotify.
either you will cry or you will have diarrhea from the chicken you ate. But either way, it's going to affect you. It's a beautiful song.
It is. Ben Gibbard actually performed that with us in Seattle when we played.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, that's one of the only times my wife has thought I'm cool, is that I shared the stage with Ben Gibbard.
Is she aware that you played with the Zambonis last night?
Yeah.
She is.
and Rich, have you heard from her lawyer yet, or?
I think that's coming. No, there's two things she's super excited about. The rest you can care less. It's that, and that I played on the soundtrack of a Hallmark movie.
Oh, nice. Do you happen to know a friend of mine named Paul Yates?
Paul Yates, I do not.
He's in the band with our friend Leon Dewan called Shamgumi.
I don't know Shamgumi.
Oh my God, you got to see this. It's Paul, Leon, your friend and my friend, and Moby. And
wow, cool.
They have a German, but Paul's been a struggling film guy like Dave. Like Dave's still struggling,
Deeply.
right, Dave?
Deeply, yes.
Deeply.
Flailing is the word I would choose, but carry on.
But Paul got a script, and one of his Hallmark movies, he wrote it, and it went.
Oh, very cool.
And my wife watched it, and she didn't know that Paul wrote it. And she for a while she loved those until every one is similar, or there's some.
It's like the Love Boat. It's every episode was the same. Yeah.
But I kind of love it. It's kind of just trashy and awesome.
Yeah,
I can't get into those. My wife could watch those forever.
Really?
Maybe
a million of them on the DVD.
What's that, Dave?
I said maybe you should write a spec script for a Hallmark movie. Maybe it's your calling.
I don't think it's my calling.
I'll punch it up.
But thank you. Thank you.
I think we just co-wrote it together, didn't we?
Yes.
You could write a hockey Hallmark movie.
Now you're talking.
You could do the soundtrack.
Because you know what women that love those Hallmark movies also love?
Hockey. Yeah. Rich.
Yeah.
We have the great pleasure of playing a non-paying gig. With our friend Dean Falcone. It's called Vomitorium every year, the day before Thanksgiving. I've been doing it for 10 years, 12 years. I don't know.
I've only been doing it for a few.
Well, it's great. But you did Walking on the Moon, and I was watching. It was really, your rim job was delightful.
Hey, well, thank you.
Seriously. It was amazing, because did Stuart Copeland overdub some drums or cymbals?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, he didn't overdub things. He just had the reverb on incredibly high. So when I was a kid, a young impressionable kid, I didn't know that. So when you hear all that hi-hat stuff, like that's just the echo, the reverb. I didn't know that.
Oh,
so
I thought that was the overdub stuff.
No, that's all, because he kind of does it once. He goes, but because of the reverb and the echoes.
Wow.
But as a kid, I didn't know that, so I learned how to do that. So like even if you listen to my playing on original tunes and stuff, I throw that stuff in there all the time. I can't help it.
So that ended up being kind of a happy accident for you then.
Yes. Yeah.
For me, on the other hand, I'm 40 years old, and I didn't know that until just now. And I would just like to thank you for ruining the police for me. Never listened to that.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
I actually got punched in the face once by this guy Mike in 9th grade, because I'm not a fighter, but I can be funny.
Yes.
And he said John Bonham's the greatest drummer ever, and I go, no, he's not. He goes, oh, what are you going to say, Keith Moon? I said, no, it's so easy. Give me a break. Simon Crowe, the drummer of the Boomtown Rats. And I only said it because
you asked. I'm laughing at Simon Crowe.
I only said it because I knew he didn't know the Boomtown Rats, and he wasn't a good drummer at all. Oh, he might have been, but Gilson Lavis, all the new wave stuff I liked then, they were drummers, but I just wanted to piss him off. I'm like, Simon Crowe. And then he goes, what are you talking about? I don't know why. I think I just saw a Pretenders concert where some milk was in his snare. He put milk in his snare. And I go to him and I go, John Bonham never put milk in his snare. Right there. And that's where I got punched.
He really clocked you in the face?
Oh yeah, and I deserved it. But it was great. That was the one.
I get guys pissed off at me all the time when they talk about Bonham. I love Bonham and I think he's great, but he took everything from Buddy and Elvin, and he just
and Simon Crowe and Simon Crowe and Moon.
Everything about Keith Moon is Gene Krupa, right down to the hamming it up, and all that. That's Gene Krupa.
Oh, really?
And that was his favorite player. Was Gene.
That was a wonderful impersonation right there.
But he was open about that influence, right? It was like
he was totally open about that. Yeah. I mean, he got way more, for lack of a better term, flamboyant than Krupa did. But yeah.
It's funny that you got punched by the Zeppelin, the Bonham guy, Dave, because it does seem like the Zeppelin apologist isn't the right. The Zeppelin defenders are particularly kind of territorial and aggressive about defending that band and its legacy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I deserved it, but it's a good story. It's all about the stories.
Did you remain friends with that guy? Was it Tarkin?
No. He was a football player and a Led Zeppelin fan.
There you go. Well, that's why I hate the question, who's your favorite drummers? What drummers do you like the best? Because, I mean, with you, it wasn't a loaded question, but 9 out of 10 times it's a loaded question. Because if I don't say Neil Peart or John Bonham or Keith Moon or Ginger Baker, people just like, well, what about those guys? What about Neil Peart? Huh? You don't know what you're talking about. You suck.
Ginger Baker. He knows how to break a nose too.
Yes, he does. Mr. Baker.
Should we do some breaking news?
Oh, hang on.
Breakdance? What?
Dave, I'm being told that you have some news to break.
I may. Rich.
Yeah.
Would you join my band, the Zambonis?
No.
All right.
Yes, of course.
All right. We'll work on that. We practiced. We got together. I said, just like the Monkees, I said, Rich, do you know any Zamboni songs? He said, no. But I'm willing to chart them. Well, we did it. We did it, guys.
Woohoo!
We've done a show. Rich has allergies. You have possible explosive diarrhea.
Have you heard my stomach rumbling at all? It's audible.
Well, I thought it was my dog, actually. My dog's behind me. It's you?
It was me. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if the mic's picking it up, but it's happening.
Are you guys ready to sing it out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, fellas. Well, I guess this is it. Get your hands up to wave goodbye.
Some say goodbye. And we just sing it out just like we did at the beginning.
Just you start it, Rich, from a distance. Go ahead.
From a distance. Wait.
No more of the melody. We don't want to get sued. Really nice hanging with you, Rich.
Yes, same here.
You think I'm the only one that's going to work up there? Well, you motherfuckers sit out there and clam all over this fucking joint. What do you think this is, anyhow? What kind of playing do you think this is? What kind of miscues do you call this? What fucking band do you think you're playing on, motherfuckers? You want to fuck with me on the bandstand? Shut that fucking door. I'm up there working my balls off, trying to do somebody a favor, and you motherfuckers are sucking all over this joint.